I did a thing, it was cool, it's a big achievement, and I'm really proud of it. So if that's bragging, then this video is gonna be like 10 minutes of bragging. So get comfortable, I guess. Hey ecofictologists, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lovis, and today I am not talking about ecofiction. I am talking about something that is non-fiction. I am talking about my PhD thesis, which I successfully defended last week. Yay! So I am officially doctor. I have my prefix now and forever. I am Dr. Well, I'm not Dr. Lovis Geier because that's my pen name, but I do have my doctor prefix, which is pretty exciting. That is pretty much the whole point of this video, which is just to brag, pretty much. Is it still bragging if it's valid? Is it still bragging just to say, you know what, I did a thing and it was cool and it's a pretty big achievement and I'm really proud of it? Bragging seems to have a negative connotation, but that's what I'm doing. I did a thing, it was cool, it's a big achievement, and I'm really proud of it. So if that's bragging, then this video is gonna be like 10 minutes of bragging. So get comfortable, I guess. To give some context, PhD defenses in Britain are a little bit different than in pretty much any other country. And so just a brief overview of what I actually did last week. So a PhD is generally 4 years in Britain, and at the end of it you hand in a thesis, which there's no real limit on how long it is. Mine was about 130 pages, which is a really short thesis. So mine was pretty much the length of a novella because it was double spaced, so it was like 40, maybe 50,000, I think it was sub 50,000 words. And so I wrote a novella for my thesis, but others write like full-length novels for their theses. There are some 400, 500 page theses out there. So I think my examiners were quite happy that I did not hand them 400 pages to read. I handed them 130 double-spaced pages to read, which they said they very much enjoyed, so you're welcome. Even when you hand in your thesis, you don't know you have passed. You have to pass the defense. You have to pass the viva in order to get your PhD. And we don't do grades. You pass with minor corrections, pass with major corrections, or you fail, or you get an MPhil, which is like a type of master's certificate, which is devastating. To spare you all the suspense, I passed with minor corrections after 4 hours of examination. So in other countries, your viva can be live and other people can watch it, which is my actual nightmare. I had so many stress nightmares about my viva, and it's only my 2 examiners there because I have a terror of publicly not knowing the answer to a question. And if anyone in the department and my friends and family could have come, I might have had a panic attack. So I thank my lucky stars that I did not do my PhD anywhere but Britain, so that my viva was very private. It was just me and my 2 examiners. But in exchange, because those public vivas are usually about an hour long, in exchange mine was 4 hours long. My examiners were very positive about my thesis, and there were still 4 hours worth of things to talk about. So I was tired afterwards, I was exhausted, but I did pass. I passed with minor corrections, which means I have a couple months to make some tweaks, and then I hand in the final version. And my thesis was called MerMADE, the coupled biophysical eco-evolutionary model for predicting population dynamics, dispersal, and evolution in aquatic environments. That was the title of my thesis, which is a mouthful. maybe I'll do another video. If anyone is interested, let me know down in the comments and I can do another video on what all of that jumble means, since this whole channel is about science communication, and that is probably the least communicative title ever. So I could do a little video trying to bring my thesis to the masses. We'll see. But it's actually interesting because there's a lot of my thesis that has made its way into my current work in progress. And so you'll read all about population dynamics and dispersal and ecology if and when my current work in progress sees the light of day. But the viva is the final word. I have passed. I have my doctor prefix. And so after that, I went into my university and I met with my colleagues, and this was my little party with my friends and colleagues, and a couple of my friends made me a cake, and it's kind of just in our department, it's kind of custom for close friends of whoever has had the viva to make a cake in the shape of the study species. And in my case, I'm a theoretical scientist and I build models, so what were they gonna make it? But they made me a cake that had a mermaid on it because my model is called MerMADE. The MADE is actually M-A-D-E, and it's movement and dispersal evolution, and because it's in the marine environment, it's MerMADE. And so they made me a cake with a beautiful mermaid on it, with lots of aquatic and marine species, and there was a little speech bubble that said, "You mermaid it." And this is the most beautiful cake. It's so precious to me. I'm still finishing it because it was enormous. And I felt so very special and so very loved. And it apparently took them a very long time to make, which I believe, because there is some artistry on this cake. So this was so very special to me. And we had bubbly and snacks and cake, and there was a balloon, and everyone was wearing a mask, which is really kind of strange. But I gave hugs to everybody anyway because I was running on adrenaline and anxiety. And I needed hugs. And then we went out for a very nice dinner, and then I collapsed because I was completely drained of all energy. My Christmas will be so relaxing because I will have literally nothing to do. I'll do my corrections for my thesis after Christmas. And so I'm taking a real break over Christmas, and I'm looking forward to it so much. I can't even actually describe it. So anyway, this is a bit of a rambly video, but this is what has been happening in my life. It's a big thing. It's a big milestone. And I'm so very proud of it. So if you have noticed a dip in content recently, yes, that is true. But I'm claiming that I have a valid excuse because I have very little energy reserves left right now. So I am in dire need of a break and to properly let it sink in. But I didn't want to leave you without a video for a second week running, so here you are. You're welcome. And that's it from me. You wouldn't know that I have a doctorate with the way that I speak. I have a doctorate. I mean, that in and of itself is cool to say. I have a doctorate. I'm a doctor. Anyway, I'm just blabbering now. So I'll leave. I'll stop. You've had enough. So I will see you next week with some actual content, hopefully. Some actual eco-fiction content. And let me know down in the comments what you're all working on, and whether you'd be interested to know a little bit more about what I do in my day job. And whether you want to know a little bit more about MerMADE. Okay, I'll leave you for now. Bye! I'll see you next week, ecofictologists. I think I'll leave it off my passport though, because that could get into some disappointing situations on a plane if they call for a doctor and I'm like, I'm not that kind of a doctor.